nature is anchor of my purest thoughts, my nurse. Because when I was sad in that din, in those cities, that time, nature used to nurse me. And then he says, the guide, nature used to guide me to do right things, and my guardian, nature used to protect me. Protect him from what? I think from losing his mind, kind of derangement. Okay, and the guardian of my heart and soul, obviously, of all my moral being. My moral being means I never lost right path. I was always on right path. It actually keeps you good human being. It actually makes you realize its duties. So nature is for him anchor of his purest thoughts, the nurse. Nature is his nurse, his guide, his guardian of his heart and soul, and of all his moral being. Then he says, not perchance, if I were not thus taught, should I the more suffer my genial spirits to decay? What do you think? If I was not taught all these things, if I have not learnt all these things, my friendly and cheerful spirit would have decayed, would have suffered. Nor thou art with me here, for thou art, because you are here with me upon the banks of this fair river. River why? Thou, my dearest friend, Dorothy. Now, when I spoke about the life of Wordsworth, I told you that Dorothy is very important. And you should remember that Dorothy was actually only 1 year younger to Wordsworth. But then in this poem, it seems that she was some 5 to 6 years younger to her, but she was actually 1 year younger to Wordsworth. But Wordsworth might have felt that he was more like a father figure to Dorothy. He used to protect Dorothy, he used to look after Dorothy, and her brother was everything, father, mother, or whatsoever. If you don't have parents, then whosoever is eldest at your home is actually whosoever bred winner of your home, or whosoever is eldest at home is actually that figure for mother and father. So similarly here, he says, but here Dorothy is not only his sister but also his friend. Oh, thou, my dearest friend, my dear, dear friend, and in thy voice I catch the language of my former heart. And whatever was my former heart, whatever I was 5 years ago, that I catch in you, I can see in you, and read my former pleasures in the shooting lights of thy wild eyes. Light, shooting light means you are so hopeful of thy wild eyes. Why wild? Because somebody who gets animal-like pleasure, who gets that momentary pleasure, that boyish kind of pleasure, coarser pleasure, has wild eyes. So, oh, yet a little while may I behold in thee what I was once. But he's so nostalgic and he wants to see. It's not that he's not at all nostalgic. He's nostalgic, and that's why he wants to see inside his eyes what he was once. And then he says, and yet a little while may I behold in thee what I was once, my dear, dear sister. And this prayer I make, knowing that nature never did betray the heart that loved her. So nature actually never leaves you. We are born out of this nature, we live in this nature, and then we finally mingle in this nature. हम जिस मिट्टी से बने हैं, उसी हम मिट्टी में मिल जाएंगे. A similar idea that, very deep thought rather, knowing that nature never did betray the heart that loved her. Sometimes I wonder, did he know about Eastern philosophy? Did he know about Buddhism and Hinduism? That, whatever he writes, pantheism, in fact, whatever he writes is so much evocative of Eastern philosophy anyway. It is her privilege. That's her privilege. That's her quality, nature's quality. What? That it actually never betray you. People will betray you. Human beings will betray you, but nature will not. Through all the years of this our life, to lead from joy to joy, you will shift on joy. Earlier you had normal joy, joy which was physical, then emotional, and then spiritual. From joy to joy, for she can so inform the mind that is within us, so impress with quietness and beauty, and so feed with lofty thoughts that neither evil. If once you attain that nirvana, you attain that sublimity, you attain that lofty thoughts, no, neither evil tongue, rash judgments, nor the sneer of selfish men, nor greetings, where no kindness is. People greet you, people say you thank you, and they don't mean it. People say sorry, and they don't mean it. So, greetings are so superficial. It has no kindness. So, you will be above these things. You will never get bothered by your surrounding. You will never get bothered. Sometimes we think that, oh, that person has not invited me, and you get offended. And sometimes you, oh, nobody praised me. Am I doing this service free of cost? You want something in return. Okay, you expect from people something, but once you attain that lofty thoughts, you actually get hold of those lofty thoughts, then you don't worry about anything. Nothing evil in this world can actually touch you. And then he says, rash judgments, nor the sneers of selfish men, even selfish men can't harm you, nor greetings where no kindness is, nor all the dreary intercourse of daily life shall ever prevail against you. They will not last you, they will not affect you. And then he says, or disturb our cheerful faith. We will not become sad. उसने मुझे thank you भी नहीं बोला. I did so much for her. I did so much for her. She couldn't do even a simple thing for me. So you won't get affected. Then he says, therefore, disturb our cheerful faith, that all which we behold is full of blessings. Because what we behold, what we have seen is full of blessings. Therefore, let the moon shine on thee. So, mast raho. So, since nothing can touch you, jao mast raho. So he says, therefore let the moon shine on thee in thy solitary walk, and let the misty mountain winds be free to blow against thee. Kuch bhi ho jaye, jao khuleam ghumo, and the nature may. And in after years, when these wild ecstasy shall be matured into a sober pleasure, these wildness, ecstasies, happiness, wild happiness, जब ये मेच्योर हो जाए, सोबर हो जाए, जब ये बहुत हाई लेवल की हो जाए, सफिस्टिकेटेड हो जाए, इन अ वे elevated हो जाए, तब when thy mind shall be a mansion for all lovely forms, you will have forms, those beauteous forms, not only images, forms. Okay, thy memory be as a dwelling place for all sweet sounds and harmonies. So your memory will be place of all sweet songs and harmonies, sweet sounds. Okay, what is sweet sounds? Nice things. And harmonies. Oh, then harmony means nothing will be imbalanced then. Nothing will go haywire. Oh, then if solitude or fear or pain or grief should be thy portion, कुछ भी पास में आने की कोशिश करता है, solitude, fear, pain, grief should be thy portion, with what healing thoughts of tender joy wilt thou remember me? So when you will get that healing thoughts, that restoration, what kind of restoration? Tranquil restoration. When you get that, Then, will you remember me? He asks, because this is conversation, kind of conversation going on. And he is the only one who is talking. And these my exhortations, these my urgings, whatever I am requesting you, urging you, encouraging you to do, my statements, and these my exhortation, will you remember whatever I have told you? Will you remember these things? Nor perchance, if I should be where I no more can hear thy voice, if I am gone, I'm dead, I won't, or if, he goes to another world, Mars or moon, I'm kidding. If he is no more there to listen him, then he says, if I should be where I no more can hear thy voice, nor catch from thy wild eyes these gleams of past experience, will thou then forget that on the banks of this delightful stream, means it has actually given him happiness, we stood together here, and that I, so long a worshipper of nature, hither came, and I, worshipper of nature, hither came, unwearied, untired in that service, rather say with warmer love. So he is in service of nature, he has warmer love in his heart, oh, with far deeper zeal, even more excited he is now of holier love, of this holier love. Nor will thou then forget that after many wanderings, many years of absence, these steep woods and lofty cliffs and this green pastoral landscape were to me more dear, both for themselves and for thy sake. And both for themselves, both they were dearer to me, and for thy sake, अपने आप में और अपने ही तरीके से they were very, very dearer to me. And actually, if you look at the poem, Michael, if you remember, there that brook is tumultuous. The brook which runs is tumultuous, and tumultuous is not positive word. And what we see in the entire poem is, that's not a happy poem. But here in this poem, that water rolling down from that mountain spring is actually gives us a soft inland murmur, and it's quiet and it's blissful and it's serene, it's pristine, everything. So it's so nice, and he actually carries those images. More than those images, when he looks at those images, he carries beauteous forms out of those images along with him. And it's just like we see in Solitary Reaper, it is written, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. So this is one quality of Wordsworth, that even when he was not there, that music was with him, that form of the music, that beauteous form of the music, those lyrics were not there. He did not understand the lyric, but he could actually understand the soul of it. And then if we see another poem, Daffodils, where he says, and listen till I do beget that golden time again. And then in Cuckoo also he says, that flesh upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then in I think in that poem, Daffodils also, he says something similar. So that was all about the poem. See, one thing I want to tell you, that if you are actually planning to write any exam, and there, if you are expecting questions from Tintern Abbey, those MCQ questions, if you're writing for any teaching job, then there is only one thing that you should do, is read this poem 10 to 15 times. read it, try to understand its meaning the way you like. If in Hindi, understand it in Hindi, no problem. Listen such videos which are available in Hindi, and uh, but there is only one way by which you will be able to answer all the questions. All the questions, you will never skip any question, and that's only if you reread the poem. If you learn those MCQs, you might falter somewhere, but if you reread the poem again and again, बार बार पोएम को पढ़िए. पोएम बहुत सिंपल है. एक बार डिफ़िकल्ट लगेगी, but not when once you have done 2 to 3 readings, and it is actually a very easy and a beautiful poem. Thanks for having so much of patience. If you have watched my video till the end, I thank you so much, and keep watching I Love Literature.